What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Mint City Soccer Show. I'm one of your hosts, David Gusler, and I'm reporting to you live in Dirty Myrtle. Matt, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing very good. A little tired, but I'm good. No Coriensko tonight. He is in the opposite side of the United States in California. So get ready, buckle up for a bumpy ride as I am in the producer chair again tonight. But it'll be fun. It's jolly mood. We're in a good mood. We're coming back from a victory against Atlanta, and we've got a ton of listener questions to kind of go through tonight, which, usually we would break down the game and kind of go through different kind of segments of it. But I think just even skimming some of these questions ahead of time, I think if we ask these questions, we're going to be able to cover pretty much every facet of the game. So no need to do that. We'll just kind of dive right into this. That sound good?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, before we go into this, though, just a tiny bit. So, Swift, first game of the season. How are you feeling, though? It was our first home game. It's always a big deal. How are you feeling from, going against Atlanta and coming away with 3 points?
I feel fantastic. Friday night was such a blast at the Mint City Collective event at NODA. Top Ben was there. Tom Bogart, who I've always wanted to meet and talk to, he was there. So just that. And then Saturday, the game, the way it went, who we played, who we beat, all good things, man. So I'm kind of riding a high right now.
Yeah, I can't remember. Did you say that you would be happy if we had 4 points after the first 3 games? Is that correct after that episode with Vaughn?
I think I want to say I said something like, wait a minute, 6
points.
7?
Maybe it was Vaughn with 4. I can't remember what it was, but
yeah, he's already there.
we're already there, right? So, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm definitely jealous of you meeting the mustache aficionado Tom Bogart there at NODA with Top Ben 90. But heard it was a great time. Heard it was a great show. I heard they got to meet Sir Minty, which is
that was probably the best moment of the night. We're doing the live show, and all of a sudden Sir Minty walks in, and everybody just lights up when you see this goofy looking bastard come through. Right? It's such a great thing. So he walks in, and everybody's going crazy, and of course he comes right to Tom, and it's like some romance love affair thing. It's pretty fantastic. So it's just really cool, and Tom's such a great guy, and it was a really fun moment. So I'm glad I was able to share the mics with Top Ben and Tom.
Yeah, I have to chuckle because what I'm imagining in my head, which definitely didn't happen, is that you guys are just doing the show at this table, and then it's this romantic montage. It's like the strings start playing, and Sir Minty walks into the door and just starts walking right to Tom. You and Top Ben are on the way. He just pushes you out of the side without looking at Tom the entire time.
That's basically what happened.
That's awesome.
They both locked eyes on each other, and it was a pretty cool moment.
I do have to chuckle because he was obviously in Charlotte for the weekend and got to be at the game live, everything like that. And I guess Sir Minty left Tom a present inside the stadium.
It's really cool.
Put this picture frame with a picture of Sir Minty with this message written around the frame about the first time that they ever set eyes on each other. It is hysterical. Just if you zoom in on it, check out Tom's account on Blue Sky. He shared it on there, and it's a pretty nice little love affair that he's got going on with Sir Minty.
We talked about it a little bit on the show. I was telling him, I was like, the way Sir Minty was rolled out, he wasn't rolled out in some big marketing ploy like, this is your new mascot.
Right.
Love him. It was, and Tom even said, he's like, I went to an event and all of a sudden this thing comes walking out. It was the best thing ever. And it was such a great job by the team for not pushing it, just kind of here's this weird soccer ball with a crown and cape and the gloves. So I think that's why everybody's loved him. And Tom has been on board the Sir Minty train from the beginning. So it was really, like I said, just a kind of a cool thing to see happen. And it was pretty neat that Sir Minty left him a little memento.
If I remember correctly, and not to make this whole episode about Sir Minty and Tom, but
we can.
If I remember correctly, the team was actually kind of hesitant about getting Sir Minty out there. And I remember early on in the early days of Twitter and Charlotte FC and everything like that. There was even like a hashtag of like free Sermenti because they wanted more Sermenti because the team wasn't really promoting him very much. And they were like,
Yeah.
we want Sermenti.
Yeah. Scarcity, supply and demand, all those things. Like I just think they handled it really well, because I guarantee if they would have just rolled out like some major announcement, like this is it. You have
Can you
no
imagine
say.
him at the first? Have you imagined him at the first kit reveal? It's like, here's Christian Fuchs, Adam Armour, Brant Bronico, Jalen Lindsay, and Sermenti, and just rolled out this ball. Like, people would have been like, "What the hell is this?" kind of type thing. You know what I mean? So
I think it's worked out. Everybody loves Sermenti.
It does. Last question on Sermenti. Did it look like he got a nice little bath, fresh paint this offseason?
Sermenti got a facelift, new outfit, new face, clean looking, a little slimmer. I think too. So he's been working out over the off season.
Oh,
maybe he's on the Brant Bronico. He's on the Brant Bronico
yeah.
grind set plan.
Brant's out there running around in Noda with Sermenti. It'd be great. So
yeah,
that's awesome, man. Well, let's dive into some of the fan questions. We're gonna bounce around a little bit, and I'm gonna add some more things in as we sprinkle into this game, because it was a great afternoon, great day. It was an early game, which is kind of unusual for us to kind of start this off for the season. But I'm going to go ahead and just dig right into this. And the first question, of course, comes from our good friend, Mr. Rusty Varner. So Russell says, what was the biggest difference between weeks 1 and 2 for you, Swift? So, first game, we go to Seattle on the road, get a 1-1 draw, kind of pull it out of our butts, or I guess 2-2 draw. Sorry, draw there with the own goal to get a point on the road in Seattle, and then we come back home and beat a very talented and loaded Atlanta United team and get 3 points at home with a 2-0 win. So, what was the biggest difference between both those games for you?
The midfield and not giving the ball up immediately. I think we did a really good job of protecting the ball and winning 50-50 balls and the second ball too. I think the midfield played really, really well. Also too, I was a little critical of Andrew Privet in Seattle. Andrew Privet played amazingly this match. And someone else who doesn't get a lot of attention, and that's Nathan Byrne. Nathan Byrne played so well, and he's been, I think, low-key, probably one of our best signings we've ever had. But I just think, again, Tim Ream had a great game, and I think it just goes to show you there's still some concerns with age and speed, but I think it just goes to show you that when the midfield is on point, we're in capable hands, and Tim Ream can do really, really well out on the left.
So for those who aren't aware, looking at the starting 11 or like the aficionados for that kind of stuff, the biggest difference in this game was, Wilfried Zaha was starting on the wing for us versus compared to Corin Vargas against Seattle. You had Brant Bronico starting at the midfield versus Williamson at the midfield. Backline was exactly the same. The rest of the roster was exactly the same. So it kind of leads me to my next question a little bit here from Chris. And I do want to dig into this a little bit here, and then I'll bounce to another question about Ream. But Chris says, is season 4 too late to realize how much value Brant Bronico adds to the flow from the back line to the final third on this team? So is it too late for folks to get on the Brant Bronico hype train?
No, it's never too late. Come on. There's plenty of room to get on the Brant Bronico hype train. I hope that people can see that maybe are not huge fans of Bronico. Maybe I'm hoping that they'll see the difference between the Seattle game and this game. And I know it's one game, and Williamson, I'm not going to bag on him this episode because I thought he did pretty decent when he came in this game. But I do think that Brant's been able to do everything that we've asked him to do. Last season he was playing more advanced. Now he doesn't necessarily have to do that because we do have Pep in there, Pep Biel. But I just think, again, 3 coaches, people have tried to take his spot, and even in the first game he didn't start, but then he comes in, and then the second game it's like, you got to start him just because he puts in such a tough shift and can break up plays and just can run all day. It's hard to put somebody on the bench like that. And I think I think he's a big reason why we did so well against Atlanta.
Yeah, and I mean, kudos to Brant because he's always working, he's always working out, always trying to better himself. If you follow him on social media, other than like his kid stuff and wife and those kind of things like that, he's always trying to work out and trying to better himself on the pitch and off the pitch and everything like that. But like I think I don't know. Like I mean, I think the versatility for him though, because if you think about it, the first year, like he was our starting six, he was our starting center defensive mid, and was solid and always having the ability to do that. And then now he's in the middle. He's an 8 in this space. He's got Pep in front of him as a 10. And now he's got the ability to do what he needs to do, right? I think the versatility that he brings to the table in all three facets of the midfield as attacking, a box to box, and previously was a center defensive mid, it shows that he's got that flexibility now. So I'm excited that Brant's getting the love and attention. I don't know if you saw on social media or not, Swift, but just again, to continue on the Brant Bronico love train here. Brant got highlighted by MLS and even the team on social media for his little scorpion kick trap kind of touch ball there at halftime when the first half ended. Did a little scissor kick or scorpion kick, then, started juggling the ball just right off the bat, man, off of essentially a goal kick. So, kudos to Brant. I'm glad he's getting the attention, the praise that he's getting, and I will always back Bronico from that perspective. So I think the midfield played pretty well.
Yeah, I think so too. Again, it was Atlanta is very, very tough. They're very fast. They're good on transition. But I thought we did very, very well.
Yeah. So talking about, I guess, like differences from that first and second game, so I'm using Russell's question to build off of this and ask other questions. But a friend of yours, Brian Duncan, said, well, how do you feel about Tim Ream now after this performance? So I know there was some folks that were critical on Tim Ream's play, had a different winger starting with him with Zaha. But what did you think of Tim Ream's performance in this game versus Seattle?
I get the concern, the age, the speed. If we play a winger that's fast, that could get past Tim Ream. But, I mean, it just depends on who we're playing. It just depends on how well our midfield is playing. Are they turning the ball over? Are they controlling the ball? Again, Seattle, I don't think it would have mattered if Tim was the fastest guy on the team. Like, Seattle was coming at us wave after wave after wave, and we just look silly. I mean, Nathan Burns great. Nathan Burns not tall. Nathan Burns not a big dude. So there's always going to be limitations of who you're talking about. I don't have the concerns that I think other people do about Tim Ream. I do try to understand where they're coming from, and I also agree that we need a backup, a quality backup. That is concerning because I do think we need some rotation, and Tim's going to be out for international duty. And we're going to need somebody. So, but I thought he played great. And again, it's not just about defense. It's also he could play out of the back well. And I think that's what Dean likes about Ream. And I think that's why he moved out to left back in the first place instead of sitting on the bench or fighting it out with Privet or moving Privet to the bench. So I thought it was a good day all around. I thought the defense played great. They covered for one another. But yeah, I don't have the concerns that others do about Tim Ream.
Yeah, I don't have necessarily the concerns. I mean, hell, I was wearing my Tim Ream jersey at this game. But I will say one thing that stood out to me, and I put it in our Discord, just kind of having some conversations before the show. But one of the things that stood out to me was it just seems like Ream plays, and I'm not saying this to bag on Vargas, but when Ream has Wilfried Zaha, or when he had Lilo Bada or Pep Biel playing at wing last year at different times, it just seems like he trusts those wingers more to be able to make those overlapping runs at times, or to be able to push up more or sag back more because he knows his winger is going to do something with the ball or not lose it in possession or get him caught off guard because he trusts them, right? And I think that helps build off of that collaboration and trust as a winger and a left back. I think that helps Ream, right? I think he has to trust his winger is going to be able to come back because he knows if he's going to get pushed up or if he's going to do an overlapping run, which he doesn't do very often, but he does occasionally. if he does that, he knows that his wingers will be able to get back to him versus get caught inside or get caught in the middle of the field and be out of position.
Yeah, and there was a really good moment too. It was a small moment where Wilfried Zaha tracked back and made a defensive play to kind of help Tim Ream out, and immediately Bronico and Westwood went over there and gave him 5 and like we're clapping at him, and that's huge. And not that Vargas doesn't play defense, because he does, but again, it's that trust. It's the, when do you go up? When do you kind of fall back? Are you giving the ball away a lot and putting your defense under pressure? I think that's some of that. And there was a little bit of that with Zaha. Zaha got caught out a couple of times, especially in that first half. But again, I think defensively we covered well. But again, Tim Ream's downfall is he's slow. His strengths are he's really good in the air. He's really good at positioning himself, and he has a really good left foot. So I think the pros outweigh the cons. But again, we need a backup. But I do think it's just who's he paired with in the midfield. Yeah, you bring up a good point.
So I'm gonna ask this question because no one brought it up, surprisingly, in this list. But I'm gonna start this by saying it's Wilfried Zaha, dude.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, like, what was your impressions of Zaha with his first game with us? I know, technically speaking, goal, assist, man of the match, got crowned in the coronation, right? Mm-hmm. But what was your overall impression of Wilfried Zaha? And then I've got a follow-up question for you on that one.
First half, I think he was really trying to find his footing in the game. I think he even said in post-match that, he was getting the ball a little too late. He already had someone on him. He likes getting the ball and be able to turn into space and make something happen. I think defensively for Atlanta, they played him really well in the first half. They weren't allowing him time on the ball, and Zaha was wanting to come to the middle, and they weren't allowing him. So I think he was getting a little frustrated, but things definitely opened up for him the second half. And I think you got to see why we signed him. I think you got to see the hype behind him. And I hope everybody got to see and hear his post-match comments. This is why we want Zaha here. All of those things, the swagger, the talking, and the production on the field. If I want to go back to Pep's goal, the first goal. That doesn't happen, of course, without Zaha. And the one thing that I think is really going to benefit this team is when Zaha gets the ball, defensive heads are going to move towards him. They're going to collapse on him because it's like, oh, shit, he's got the ball. So they're going to come to him, and they're going to lose track of other runners, and that's why Pep was able to – Zaha probably could have played him the ball, let's be honest there. But Pep is able to make a free run because no one's paying attention to him because they collapse on Zaha. That's going to be the benefit for Patrick and Pep and Abada. And so that to me was a good sign. Luckily it fell to Pep because Zaha's going to shoot the ball. That's just how he is. But I wish he would have passed it. But it got to him anyway. So and then Zaha's goal is just quality because I think most players would have put that ball over the goal.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the post game he even said I didn't get as solid as a shot as I wanted off on that. Like he even said, he's like, man, I could have done better there. And he still made a goal, which is crazy. But listening to his post-game conference, and this is just me talking out loud, and I think we talked a little bit offline about this, but this is like the first big personality I think the team has ever had that's on a national scale. And I've made the core, like the I guess the analogy of like, this is the Panthers Cam Newton, like this is Charlotte FC's Cam Newton, where it's just like a big personality, national recognition to it. He's gonna, like he even said in the conference, he's like, listen, like I gave some criticism to my teammates, albeit loudly, but it's still just we're doing this to be helpful. And I think one of the quotes in one of the post game was that like in preseason and practice, it's one thing, like he's going to be cheery with the guys, but the minute he crosses over that pitch and goes into the field, it's like, man, I'm dead serious. Like this shit's got to be good, and we got to make sure we're on the same page, and we've got to excel at this. And I'm excited for that personality. I also realize that sometimes that could I'm not saying that this is the case, but a big personality like that could also rub some folks the wrong way. Hopefully not.
Uh-huh.
I just want to make sure, I'm excited for that kind of a personality to be in the locker room at Charlotte for sure.
Yeah. During Soccer and Coffee, I told everybody to buckle up because he's gonna say and do things like that, and it might rub some folks the wrong way. Cam Newton rubbed folks the wrong way, and he still rubs folks the wrong way.
Sure.
With some of the stuff he says.
Maybe don't use the analogy right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the thing is he's going to demand more from players. I think in the second half, you really did see a shift in urgency because we didn't have that in Seattle. We didn't have that in the first half against Atlanta. It was get the ball. I always use the phrase dick around. Dick around with the ball. Like there were times where a player could turn and dribble in the space, and it was like a hesitancy that I don't like. Zaha's not going to put up with that, and he's gonna yell at people, and he's going to demand the ball, and he's going to say some stuff, and like when there's a loss or a draw or something like that, he's gonna say some things. And I'm telling you, opposing fans are absolutely going to hate his guts. And I'm here for it. This is what we've needed. I think to like now his practice and preseason comment reminded me of like the Allen Iverson, like practice.
Yeah.
He's like preseason. That's not full Zaha. You're about to get full Zaha now. So I just love it. I loved everything about it.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for it for sure. So I just had to add that in there. I'm surprised we didn't get a lot of questions on Zaha. I think it's because everyone just assumed we would talk about Zaha, but that's okay. Well,
yeah.
So I'm gonna pull this next question up here, and this one was interesting to me a little bit, just because I know there were some rumors about this player out there preseason about him potentially getting sold or loaned out. But Eric Hill says, "Is it time to start giving Yuri Tavares more minutes over Corwin Vargas?" And he gave some statistics here saying, comparing Vargas's, had 6 goals, 1 assist, compared to Tavares had 3 goals, 1 assist, and like less than like a third of the time of minutes being played. I know there was rumors that he might get sold or loaned out now with, Cambridge being hurt, etc. What do you think is the plan for a player like Tavares on this roster? And do you think he deserves to get some minutes here soon?
I always like Tavares. I'd like to see him get more minutes. I'm very interested to see how practice is going. Practice, but I'd like to see. Does he take direction well? Is he coachable? Is Dean able to communicate what he wants, and is Yuri able to do that on the field? Poor Vargas, I don't want to like bag on him too much either, but like I just have been up until this point pretty disappointed in that. So like give Tavares some more minutes, but again, I don't know the dynamic at practice, and I don't want to give up on Vargas. Let me just say that.
Sure.
Sure. I really want the kid to find his shooting boots. And hey, he did put 2 shots on frame this match. So
sure. Yeah.
Let me just say that. But yeah, of course I'd like to see him get minutes, but it's going to be hard now. Like we talked about this too. It's going to be hard for some of these younger guys to get minutes in certain areas, especially in that core midfield and even on the wings now. It's going to be hard to get minutes because now you have some other folks that are pushing in that we didn't have before. You got Tiger Smalls, you got Toklamati. So it's going to be tough.
Yep. So Michael asked this question about our starting 11. So he said, do you think that this is on paper the best starting 11 that we can use moving forward for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think so. Well, till the summer.
Well, unless like moves come and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But currently, with the way the roster's built right now, is this the best starting 11?
I think that's what I called for at the beginning of the season. And really, there was only one change. I think Williamson for Bronico. I think what we saw against Atlanta is our best option for right now. And then the summer comes and maybe things change. Maybe we get that DP. the whole dynamic shifts after that.
Sure. Yep. So, and building off of that, he also asked, and while that may be our best starting 11, we kind of started a little slow against Atlanta. They shut down Zaha pretty early on in that first half, and they had some opportunities in the first half as well, right? But he wants to know, how do we get that same second half intensity throughout the full 90 minutes? Like, do you think it's something that just needs to be switched? Is it familiarity? Like, what do you think it is?
I think there's a couple of things here. One, that's Dean's job to motivate the team, get them ready to go out the gate. You may have to get this team to press. I think when we're pressing and running around, I think other players feed off that. They're clapping at each other, they're giving high fives, like turning the ball over, pressing. I think that's what you kind of have to do to jumpstart that momentum, I guess. But also, too, like, let's keep in mind, we played Seattle first game, Atlanta second game. We're about to play Miami and then Cincinnati. These are very, very quality teams, and we're probably not going to look the best 90 minutes in all of these matches. I'll just say that. I've seen and heard a lot of worry about the slow start, and let me tell you, I totally get that. But if I maybe could play devil's advocate, I would say you did just play Seattle, who's one of the best teams in the league, and then you just played Atlanta, who is probably going to be in the top 4 in the East. Everybody's big on them. So I'm going to hold judgment to see how we do in the next. We've only played 2 games too. So.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, it is Dean's job. I also think the players, as they get more familiar with each other, that will come to fruition more frequently versus, second halves, late games. I hope, fingers crossed, that's the case. So, and then his last question was, how do you feel about the depth after this game? Because I know the first game we were kind of like, with Zaha out, you have Vargas playing. Now we're bringing on Toklamati. We're bringing on Smalls. Bram Bronico is being put on as a sub. What do you think about the depth in this game versus their performance in the first game against Seattle?
I've been really happy with Toklamati. Like, both games now. Come in with a lot of energy, running. He's fast. He's faster than I thought. Actually, he's faster than I thought. So I'm happy there. I do think with Zaha, it gives you a little more depth. And also, too, we're still missing a huge piece to this team. So I think it really is a matter of getting, some players healthy and back into the mix. And also, too, just getting to the summer and then seeing what's what there. So we might have another piece joining.
So talking about roster moves and like potential moves, et cetera. So Will asked the question, and he prefaces this as, this may be a dumb question, which Will, I will tell you, on the show, there's no dumb questions, especially with me running the helm here. So, but the announcement of the loan for Pep BL, it says that it doesn't mention that an option to buy is available in August. So does that mean that there's no option that he'll just be gone, or we have to renegotiate? Or does it just not include release? Like, what, anything that you know of or you can touch on, or is it just strictly a loan deal and he goes back after that?
I honestly don't know off the top of my head the details of that. I do think, again, you get to the summer. Is Pep doing well? Is he not doing well? You've got that DP slot. You go get your number 10. So I'm sure there's a little bit of like waiting to see type of thing there. But if he's playing well, maybe use that slot somewhere else. Maybe up top. Maybe in the midfield somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, I haven't heard anything. I don't know offhand, but I could try to find that out.
Yeah, and as I'm pulling this up to kind of filibuster a little bit too, but like, if I remember correctly, I think he had 3 goals at the end of his short stint with us last season. And actually, I'm just pulling this up here. So yeah, so he had 2 goals and 3 assists last season in 11 games, and through 2 games this season so far, he's already got a goal and an assist. Mm-hmm. So when's the last time in Charlotte FC's very short history have we had a attacking midfielder have 3 goals and 4 assists in 14 games? Like, that's
yeah.
I mean to me, it's bang for your buck right now for sure.
Yeah, so far I've been very impressed with Pep. I think he's probably out of two games combined, probably our best player. If you want to take those two games into account, of course. So I've been very, very pleased. The only worry is, when is he going to be able to go 90 minutes? Is he ever going to go 90 minutes?
Sure.
Can he stay? Can he stay healthy? Et cetera. But so far, so good. And look at look what we paid for him, as opposed to Miguel Almiron, who we would have had pay upwards to $20 million after the transfer fee, and the wages. So I think we did pretty good, all things considered. They can have Miguel.
Who was that
Miguel's
again?
a quality
Was
player.
that someone that played?
Not saying who. So I'm just
Who was that? Was that someone that played Saturday, or was that someone that just sat out?
Yeah,
Sorry, no,
Almiron played okay.
So go ahead.
In the first half, but I think I don't know. I'd rather have Zaha, and you have Pep for a fraction of the cost, and could be just as good for us. So, and we have Abada on the other wing, so it just doesn't matter.
Zaha, in a very short time frame, has already got more goals and assists than Almiron's gotten in 2 games. So just want to throw that out there. But never mind, I'm just joking. So
yeah.
So not to be a little bit of a and when I say this, Philip, I'm not saying your question was a buzzkill, but I have to ask this question because it comes up because I saw it on Facebook, I saw it on some people's Twitter line feeds, whatever you want to call it. But he says, building off of Von Pullman's preview episode, when should we start getting concerned about Patrick's slow starts and the disappearances in the first halves, and specifically the first half? So is it a slow start? Are you worried yet? Or do you think Pat's been doing just fine?
Pat's just fine. Again, we've only played 2 games. And in those 2 games, we've played probably 2 teams in the top 8 in the whole entire league. One you played away in the first game in the rain, and Patrick had absolutely 0 service. This game, I talked to Tom at the event Friday. I've heard other people say how many goals Patrick should get, and Tom was saying at least 12. I don't know if Patrick has to score that many. I would love for him to, but I think that this is going to be goal by committee. I think it's going to be Zaha, it's going to be Pep, it's going to be Patrick, it's going to be Abada. I don't think Patrick has to carry the load like he did at the end of the last season, where we launched the ball up the field, he has to trap it down, and then he has to manhandle the defense to score. So I'm not worried about Patrick at all. I honestly think once we get in the groove, he's gonna get into things, and he's gonna have a lot more space.
So Nisi, who I hope I'm saying that correctly this time, versus I think we mispronounced that. Nietzsche. Jesus, I messed it up again. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Nietzsche versus Nikki that we said earlier on Soccer and Coffee on the episode. So it's great to meet you, by the way, at the tailgate. I heard we had a great time there. But so she says, what key elements are needed to go from the team that has a great insert minutes here to a team that is that way the entire game? So you may have touched on that a little bit, right? But like, how do we get that? And then she's got a fun second question I want to ask you on that one. So what's going to take us to over the edge from that?
Yeah, I think everybody's very concerned about the slow starts, and I totally get it. 2 games in, we came out flat the first half, especially in both games, and that can be concerning. But I do think, again, look who you're playing, and who's to say that throughout the course of the season, like, we just kind of maybe find ourselves in the first half and then come alive in the second half, as long as our defense continues to play well and we just don't get overrun, kind of like we did in Seattle. I think we'll be perfectly fine. But I back again, I think it's Dean getting the players up and ready. I think it's players like Zaha starting to be a little more vocal when things are getting a little stagnant and demanding and asking for the ball to try to make things happen. So it's just, if we were in game 4 and 5 and it was the same thing, I'd be like, okay,
Sure.
something's up. But yeah, after 2 games and who we played and the circumstances, I'm gonna wait a little more before I panic or get frustrated.
Yeah. So we got a decent amount of fun questions. So I'm gonna let her kick off the fun questions here. So she says, also, how do we make the Zaha chant an official chant? Maybe all we do is believe and it will happen. So I don't know if you know Swift, but there's 2 different kind of like Zaha chants going out there. And I am not going to do a disservice to them and butcher them on the show live. But there's 2 of them.
You're going to sing them.
Oh man. Well, there's one that's like, na 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye. Like it's based off of that, but it's hey, hey.
Wilfried Zaha.
There's that one. And then there's the Zaha, Wilfried Zaha, Wilfried Zaha, Wilfried Zaha, Wilfried Zaha. It's just built off of that. It's a Man, I think United or Man City chant or something like that. But,
I think I like the first one better.
So I posted the first one on our Meme City one, by the way. So that's I'm going to build off of that.
Which one do you like better? Which one do you like better?
I like them both, but after trying the second one at the game, I might go back to the first one because I think everyone understands the.
I do too.
Like that one's easy to pick up. I think so.
They know the cadence too. The cadence is like key, I think, to chants, and if you don't get it right, it just kind of dies. But I think as far as getting the chant going, I think it's just going to be it's going to take some time. I kind of saw something, and again, here we are going into year 4, and kind of like the basic like Charlotte FC. Sometimes like the supporter section is, the drums are right there. You're in the middle of a chant, and but the other folks in the stadium are doing the Charlotte FC chant. Now I think there's a little more synergy. I hate to use that word, but I think now there is and it's just a basic chant. I know it's kind of silly, but when there was a point where the whole stadium was doing it, and I don't know if you could hear it in your section, there was it will give you goosebumps because everybody's in on it. And I just think it's going to take a little bit of time. And I think the Wilfried Zaha one is so easy. People can get it, but maybe there is a way for the team to kind of, I see that they're putting it on the Jumbotron now with the QR codes, trying to get people to understand the chants. And I think it's just going to take some time.
I think if he scores another game in Miami and leads us to victory against Miami, we'll make it happen. Just put the show on repeat and we'll do it. So it'll be fun. So thanks for the question. I appreciate it. So let's continue on some of these fun questions. So Terry from Boone, who, by the way, played on the drums this past game, did a fantastic job. So
good job, Terry.
Did great on the march and on the drums. But he wants to know, there's 2 questions that he's got. So for one, how do we get more Porta-Johns at the lot? I think he mentioned something around the Porta-Johns. I want to make sure I do this. So, no, are we allowed to bring our own Porta-Johns to the tailgate is what his specific question was.
Yeah, so I didn't get to go. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to get to the tailgate this time. I was kind of bummed, but there were not enough Porta-Johns.
Well, I'll say this: the tailgate lot was much smaller. I don't know if you. I'm sure you know that, but I will say, I was a little skeptical by seeing the size, but it worked out pretty well.
And when you say smaller, you don't mean people; you mean square footage.
Space.
They've condensed it down. It's not as spread out as it was last season.
Yeah. I mean, it's not smaller people wise. It's just a smaller space. I believe that there's some development being built on the lot, or to a certain extent, so they made the space smaller. So the space is smaller. It's no one's fault or anything like that. And then it was still busy, but the only criticism that I saw or that I heard was that there was not enough Porta-Johns. So I do know they're already fixing that. So Terry, you do not have to worry about bringing your own Porta-John this time. His
Terry,
next go ahead.
Oh, Terry's got another one. I was going to give Terry and the Appalachian FC a shout out. They're in Open Cup. I think that's coming up
soon. I think. Yeah.
Is it tomorrow? Wednesday? Or I mean, I want to say it's in the next. Anyway, they're in the Open Cup coming up.
I'm quickly Googling it to see when they play. March 19th is when they play in the Open Cup against Knoxville.
Okay, all right.
So soon.
Yeah.
Hashtag soon.
2 weeks. Yeah. 2 weeks from now.
So Terry's second question though is, and just basically, he said that he wants to get more people on the Zaha chant. So that's another person that wants to do it. He wants to know how many minty miles does it take to get a corn dog, Swift? So do you know anything about these minty miles? Can you explain these minty miles? And how do we get more corn dogs out of minty miles?
So Mint City Collective has introduced minty miles, where you can scan your membership card at tailgates and different events, and these points will build up. I don't know how that relates to Shroot Bucks or Stanley. What was it, Stanley Nichols? I think is what it was.
It's the Stanley Nickel. Yeah.
But I don't know what the prizes will be or what you can redeem your points for. I think some of that is to be determined, but it's kind of a fun thing. So I don't know how to answer the question yet.
So I just want to let you know though, Swift, I got 300 minty miles. I better be able to cash those in for a flight to like a game. It's almost say, even though it's probably not the case, but that's okay. I know.
Wow.
So how many minty miles do you have, Swift?
That's what I'm looking up. Ooh, how many do you have?
300.
I have 600.
Get the hell out of here! What the hell? All right, that's some biases there. No, I'm just joking. So I don't know how you got 600. We've only had 2 events. Anyways, you went to MC. You went to the NOTA event. That's why too.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I don't. Yeah. All right. Minty miles.
So thanks, Terry, for the question there. So Philip has a fun question here, and I don't know if you get the chance to experience this or not, because I remember looking up at the stadium going, what the hell is going on during this time frame too? But he says, is having Williamson talk quietly on the video board between the lineup announcement and Peppers the most Buzz-Killington buzzkill the team has ever done. So
so it's funny that you bring that up, because there was a moment where I didn't think we were going to do Peppers, because the referee had the ball in his hand and had put the ball on the spot, and we still hadn't done it yet. And I was like, what the hell is this Williamson video? Like, get this. I mean, like, I was not trying to be mean. I was like, get this off there. We got to do Peppers, man. But I think what it was, and I'm sure, well, shouldn't say I'm sure, but I think it's just going to be like a one-off thing. I don't think this is going to be an ongoing thing every game. I think it was like, Williamson was talking about being an opposing player coming to our stadium and being overwhelmed by the crowd and everything like that. So it was a little confusing, because we're kind of used to doing the Spooky Queen video, and then Peppa's like there's kind of a routine. So I just think it's like a one-off thing, but I love that Philip thinks it's a buzzkill.
Well, I think what hurt it is that they were having some like audio and video technical issues at a certain point, and it was super quiet, and it was just like, what the hell's going on? And I think also too, the fans are so used to doing Peppers like right before kickoff. And they're like, okay, cool, we're ready to do it. And then I remember I even turned around and I'm looking up at the screen above me behind the supporter section. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Did I turn around too early? Like, let me turn back around for a second. Yeah. And then, but it's okay.
I got really worried that we weren't going to do it. And I was like, this is dumb. So
we can't wait to rant on this on the next spot. I'm just joking. So on that same note, buddy yours, Brad Jackson asked, what did you think about the new Spooky Queen video, Swift? I know you were pumped up and excited about it, but what did you think about it?
I got worried that wasn't going to be a thing either, because we had Sir, what's his name? Sir Torchy or whatever. He comes out, he's got a new entourage, and that was kind of a big thing. And then I'm like, oh my God, they're not going to do it. But I may have got a little teary-eyed during the Spooky Queen video. Oh. I loved it. I thought it was great. Whoever, I think it's been posted before. I need to go back and look. Whoever does those videos, the concept, the thoughts behind it, it's really, really cool. It's creepy. It's weird. But this one was a little more, I feel like, sentimental. You had the kid there and our players, and I can't ever describe exactly what the hell the video is. I don't know. I don't know the plot to any of it. It really, I don't know if it really even makes sense, but I loved it. So
I'm gonna need the team or someone to splice year 1, 2, 3, and 4's videos all together, just to make it this long video. So that way it makes no sense. But it's our Spooky Queen video, and that's all that matters. So I just love the fact that the kid was looking there, and Spooky Queen just came out of nowhere and just like
that was kind of scary. It was kind of scary, right? Actually.
That was spooky.
I really want to sit down with whoever wrote out the I want to have a conversation. We should get them on the show and be like, please explain to me how much acid that you take before you make this.
Yes.
I mean, it's so unbelievably creative. I mean, it does definitely lean into like the kind of like the Game of Thrones type of, medieval whatever, but like it's pretty creative and pretty amazing. So,
yep. So, speaking of it, you touched on it a little bit. Eric Hill had a question about he calls him Torchy McTorson. So or Sir Torchy or McTorchy, whatever you want to call him. He says McTorchy has druids now, apparently. So just question mark. That was it. So
he's got a.
He's got an entourage.
He's got an entourage. I think there was more to that question. I think he was saying like if.
Oh yeah, I've got
Sir Minty. Yeah. Oh okay, yeah. So yeah, he's got an entourage. I wonder, and there's a new like thing that he lights on fire, and I'm wondering if it was actually supposed to be lit on fire and it just didn't catch. It was a little windy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was cool. He's got a little crew with him now. I hope they keep kind of like adding to that too. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it looked like there was supposed to be an actual like torch that he was lighting or something like that, but it didn't light. Yeah. So I was like, but it's okay. It's the wind. But I liked his entourage. I called it. That makes more sense calling it druids, but I called it a cult. Yeah. He's got a cult now, but that's whatever you want to refer to it as.
How do you sign up to be part of the druids? Anybody from teens listening, I want to do it.
You're gonna look underneath the mask, and Ryan Reynolds is gonna be there, or like just some random celebrity every once in a while is gonna be a random druid behind him. It'd be great.
I think I want to see more like pyrotechnic, like when he's lighting it. I want to see something blow up.
On the field before kickoff, I want something to blow up now.
It leaves like this huge scorch mark. No, I mean, like I think they could do like some fireworks or something like that to time it, or like I don't know, something. I'd like a little more with the lighting of whatever.
Put him on top of the scoreboard. Have him lighting the torch on top of the scoreboard. Be great. No, I'm just playing. So, but his second question, you were kind of alluding to it, would be if Sir Minty had followers, what would they look like? Would they just be like little mini balls, like just behind them running around, or like what would Sir Minty's followers be called, and what would they look like?
The Mentonites, right? First, the Mentonites.
There you go.
Yeah.
What would it look like? Just miniature balls? Like what?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'd like to be a Mentonite. So
we'll make that a sticker.
Yeah, can we get me a costume? I want to. Yeah, I just want to be part of the fun.
Be good. So those are some of the fun questions there. So I think that covers them all, man. So anything else? I know this was a little bit of a shorter episode, but we got a big game against Miami this week. And then Soccer and Coffee. I know you said you won't be able to be on Soccer and Coffee this weekend, but I'll be on, and I might see if I can get a special guest to join us on Soccer and Coffee. We'll see. But any closing thoughts from this game? I know it's a feel good Tuesday night as we're recording this, walking away with 4 points. I think we're top 4 in the East right now, so feeling pretty good, man. So any closing thoughts?
Feeling pretty good. I mean, we have 2 games coming up that are going to be tough. One away, one at home, of course. It'd be interesting to see, again, how we come out against Miami. Is it going to be first half filling things out, making sure we don't concede? Second half opens up a little more. But I'm ready to see Zaha. I will say Miami has a CONCACAF Champions League game on Thursday. We play Sunday, so maybe they'll be tired. I think they do play at home, so I don't think they have to travel or anything like that. So just something to look out for there. I don't know if Messi's going to be playing or kind of what that situation is going to be like, but I'm ready to see what we can do offensively against Miami.
You just broke my heart, Swift.
Oh, did I?
You did, because I honestly did not remember that the game is on Sunday versus Saturday. So I'm like sitting here now thinking, what did I commit to on Sunday versus Saturday?
Yeah.
So it's okay. We'll figure it out. I think it's what the MLS Sunday game, whatever it is, what do they want to call it?
Yeah, it's Miami, so they want to make sure that they get the marquee. But no, I will say there's probably some of that because they have to play Thursday. So
sure, yeah.
So yeah,
hopefully Messi gets to have a rest again for schedule congestion already. 2 weeks into the season.
Yeah. So. Load management, is that what they call it?
Yeah, load management. That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk a little bit about like soccer and coffee and like why we're not going to be doing it on X anymore or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. We've moved it to our Discord, which is actually better because we could do video. There's sound effects now that we can use.
There's a soundboard. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but there's a soundboard that we can use. Yeah,
and we did our first one Saturday. I did have to jump off, which was hilarious timing. That couldn't have been any funnier. But yeah, if you haven't joined our Patreon Discord, you should do that.
Yep. For those who don't know, just if you go on patreon.com or download the app, you just search for Mint City Soccer Show. It'll pop up. If you join our membership tier, which I heard, Swift, that you did not realize what the term or the name of our membership was, but it's okay. It's we'll see what that looks like. But it's technically called right now, if you become a member of the Corn Dog Stand. So if you become that, then it's $3 a month. It contributes to our beer fund for these events. You get access to our Discord, and we have some things planned this year for it. Soccer and Coffee is one of them. We'll post Q&A. Most of these questions that we asked tonight came from our Discord. So if you haven't joined, get in there. Got a nice little community growing in there. It's a lot of fun. A lot of good questions, a lot of good folks in there too. So I think it's great. But it's a lot of fun. And Soccer and Coffee will do it. I don't know, now that the game's on Sunday, should we wait till Sunday to do Soccer and Coffee? I got to figure that out. We got to do it Sunday or Saturday. I don't know.
I can't do either day though. I'm gonna be
attendance.
I'm gonna be in Boone.
Plummeted.
I'm gonna be in Boone this weekend since we're playing.
Maybe
away.
I'll do it Sunday and Corey can join because he's not having his liver mush breakfast on Saturday like usual.
There we go. Yeah.
So, but I would say it was
a
great.
lot.
So I appreciate
it was a lot better on there than X, I think. And like I said, I think we're gonna try to move off of that platform little by little. So
yeah,
for
reasons. I appreciate everyone jumping on there because I think the quality was good, audio was good, and we have a soundboard, and we'll add some more things to the soundboard. So,
pew, pew, pew.
Cool, man. Well, and so yeah, so just record that and make that the actual noise. So, Swift, anything else, man? Before we let everyone go?
No, it's good to start a home opener with a win. Clean sheet against a really, really quality Atlanta side. Zaha gets a run out. Zaha gets a goal. I'm feeling good.
Agreed. Even though Miami's going to be a tough game.
Sure.
Because they looked pretty damn good against Houston. I have
Cincinnati's going to
really
be
good
tough
feeling.
Too.
Yeah. So on that note, everyone, make sure stay safe, have a great week, and then we'll see you on Soccer and Coffee this weekend. But Swift, have fun camping. Hopefully you see Sasquatch out there, and I will. We'll have a good time.
Trapping.
There you
bring
go.
them home.
See everybody.
See you guys.